Hey everyone, Jack here, Talk Norwich City, back for another video. Before we get into things today, can someone let me know in the comments if they can remember how it feels like to lose a football match? It's a strange alien concept at this point, I know, but it's where teams concede more goals than they score. It's been such a long while since Norwich City lost a football match. I'm almost forgetting how it feels. Back today for my match review of Norwich City 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 0 in the FA Cup. We progress into the 5th round of the competition. Charlton and Wolves, the victims of Dean Smith's Yellow Army so far in this tournament. And we kind of continue our decent form in this cup run in the last few years. Of course, we had the memorable win against Spurs a couple of seasons ago, and now Wolves today to progress us into the next round. I think I've made it clear over my time running Talk Norwich City that I've never particularly favoured the FA Cup or cup competitions in general for that matter, and I know that is not the kind of romantics view of the cup. It's a brilliant competition that teams should take seriously, but unfortunately for a side like Norwich, league position does always take priority, especially when we're battling for either promotion or relegation, which we are most seasons. I think the last round against Charlton felt slightly different. It felt like we should have prioritised it. We were up against winnable opposition. We did come through that. We just desperately needed a victory in that game. But today felt slightly different for me going into it. I saw Wolves, a side that were really keen on progressing far in this tournament. There were quite a few quite shrewd people putting Wolves up to go quite deep into this tournament. They haven't. And Norwich would have had one eye on Crystal Palace coming up on Wednesday, a really important Premier League fixture in the hope of our kind of season's survival. And what happened was we fielded it wasn't a first team, but it was a relatively strong side, probably barring Angus Gunn, who would have been first choice today due to Tim Krul. Tim Krul's injury, so Michael McGovern played. I think he's the oldest player to keep a clean sheet since like 1980 or something. NCFC Numbers on Twitter tweeted that out earlier. Brilliant account if you don't already follow them. And yeah, like Sargent was ill, so he didn't play. Pukki was on the bench. So, but on the whole, it was a relatively strong side from Norwich City considering the circumstances. It was nice to see Emilio Rashica in there, Adam Eder playing up front on his own. The midfield was an interesting one because it feels as if we've changed and we've transitioned formation wise into almost a 4-2-4 in recent weeks, with Sargent and Rashica quite high up and then Eder and Pukki through the middle, but we've almost kind of reverted to a 4-1-2-3 today, with Billy Gilmore coming back in and Mclean and Leigh-Malou, who've kind of held the fort quite nicely in recent weeks. Matthias Norman coming on later into the game, which was really brilliant to see. We've missed Matthias dearly, and hopefully with 45 minutes under his belt today, he'll be going into Wednesday's game against Crystal Palace, hopefully fighting fit and possibly starting from the off. Norwich just look so much more streetwise. Like performance levels have rose, and I think there is a degree of improvement in our performance, but they haven't gone up drastically since kind of the Daniel Farker era. We're making less silly mistakes, but it hasn't been a massive turn of the tides in terms of performance levels. But what we are doing incredibly well is just finding ways to win. Every game has been different in terms of that. Everton was, started strong and then held on for quite a large period and saw that one out. Watford, not the best first half, but found a moment of brilliance and then really kicked on. Today, first half steady, nick a late goal in that first half, a really nice flicked header from Kenny Mclean, and then just almost control the game in that second half, not in terms of possession or dominance, but there was no real point where we looked flustered or threatened. And I think there weren't many leads in the Premier League under Daniel Farke, but when we did take leads, even in the Championship, it did occasionally look like we were flustered and we wouldn't be able to see it out. When Norwich City take the lead now, I'm relatively confident that we're going to close it. And I think that's the biggest benefit of having Dean Smith as manager, is he's been here, he's seen it, he's done it. He knows how to keep teams in the Premier League. And I know that this is an FA Cup clash today, and Wolves weren't playing a first 11, but nor were we. And Wolves are no mugs. They are one of the finest Premier League teams when it comes to defensive outfits. They hardly concede goals, and they score goals, and we limited them really well today. I've scribbled notes down here and I'm actually struggling to read them, so apologies. What else have I got here? It's just loads of good stuff, basically. The fact that we've now won 3 in a row and 4 in 5 is remarkable. You look back to 6 weeks ago and we were down and out. Other fans were saying, is this the worst Premier League team of all time? And if you're sitting here now and going, well, I never thought that, or I knew this was, going to turn around. No, you didn't. You're lying. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to me. There was no evidence to suggest that this was going to happen. Certainly under Daniel Farke, they made the change, but even the performance levels of players has drastically changed. I know Josh Sargent didn't play today due to illness, but he's turned a corner. Milo Rashica showed signs under Daniel Farke, but has really kicked on nicely. Adam Eder just looks like a completely different player. Even the likes of Mclean, who scored today, and has picked up his performance levels since Daniel Farke left. Certainly Pierre Lemalou, who I thought was really poor for the first 10-15 games of the season, he's kicked on. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Billy Gilmour going forward. I still think he's somewhat of a luxury, especially if we go to a 4-2-4. Because you really do need kind of a physical and a holding midfielder in there. I suspect it will be Pierre Lemalou and Matthias Norman, but it suited Gilmour the game today, kind of given a bit of freedom to roam, and he's got undoubted quality, probably more so than any other midfielder in our ranks. But for what we need right now, I'm not quite sure if Billy Gilmour's the right man. And I think the defence have to take great credit, because so often earlier on in the season, they were being chopped and changed. Injuries, suspensions, COVID, whatever it was. We saw so many different centre-back partnerships, and we saw quite a lot of change with, Max Aarons, Dimi Anulis, Brandon Williams. It seems as if now we've got a fairly set defence. I've been really impressed with Sam Byram now that he's back fit. I thought he was brilliant today. And you've got a man in Max Aarons who, of course, will start on Wednesday night, who is I think probably underappreciated actually at Norwich City. Brandon Williams has gone from strength to strength. I think I saw in the week that he's, in terms of like match ratings, and I know that's a bit wishy-washy, he's actually one of our best performing players of the season. And more importantly, you've got a centre-back partnership there in Ben Gibson and Grant Hanley, who did look suspect at times, not the quickest of players, but have formed a really nice relationship. And the fact that you've now got 3 goalkeepers you can rely on in Michael McGovern, Angus Gunn and Tim Krul is incredibly positive. Now, Wednesday's game is huge for Norwich, because you then go up against Manchester City and Liverpool. Morale could possibly be shot after those 2 games, depending on what happens. I think they'll have their African contingent back for them games, so they're going to be even stronger than they have been in recent weeks. They're not the games you need to win to stay in the Premier League. It's the types of games like on Wednesday night against Crystal Palace where you need to turn up, you need to put in performances like we did today, like we did against Everton, like we did against Watford, Charlton, second half possibly, and find a way to grind that out. And based on recent performances, I'm confident we will find a way to do that. We've hit a nice run of form now. And although I wasn't overly fussed if we went through or got knocked out today, I wanted to see a good performance. And everything's positive. No injuries to note, which is always a worry. We're through, kept the clean sheet, scored a nice goal. Happy days. Again, really positive to see. Let me know what you thought of the game down in the comments section. Any kind of standout performance? I was going to say star and I was going to say standout, and I got the words combined into starned. let me know your man of the match. And yeah, can't wait for next week. Lots of good stuff going on at Norwich City. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye.